Hello, everyone, and welcome to another FFUK, the pod. And it's an international break special, this one. And I've got a couple of very special guests, as usual. I have with me Justin McCarthy, and Damien O'Neill, Damo. And Damien's calling in. It's very early in the morning down under in Australia. So thank you, gents, for joining us. How are you both? How are you doing, Justin? Nice to see you.
I'm very good, Chris. Thanks. Good to see you. Just glad this is a fantasy podcast. We don't have to talk about international football because we don't want to get into that.
Absolutely, yeah. And welcome, Damo. Good to see you as well.
Yeah, likewise, Chris and Justin. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or wherever it is you might be watching or listening to this. For me, yeah, it's just the start of a Monday, so bright and early. Very dedicated.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, dedicated to fantasy football, which is what we love. So so I've got some questions for you guys. So we're going to go through those, and then at the end of the episode, we'll have a look at your teams and where you're at in terms of the forthcoming game week. So let's get straight into it. Damo, as I mentioned before, you're down in Australia, and I wondered how it is dealing with watching the Premier League with the obvious time difference and how it's affected FPL in particular.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some. So in terms of actually trying to watch it, it's very much like, if you remember back in COVID, the way you could watch any game. That's what it's a bit like. You'll sign up to a subscription service which is linked to your phone plan, very cheap to watch it, and every game is available to watch either live or on download then for the previous week. So from that point of view, it's pretty good. From a time difference point of view, it gets a bit more tricky. So it's okay at the moment. So that 12:30 kickoff that we watch that we're familiar with back home is now 9:30 in the evening here. So from winter point, that's okay. You end up sometimes, depending on how good that game is, you can watch it on a bit delayed before you know it. You're watching the 3:00 kickoffs live at 12 a.m. in the morning, and then you're waking up the next morning feeling a bit dusty. But as the clocks are about to go forward in a few weeks, that becomes 10:30, then your clocks go back, it becomes 11:30. You'll just watch the one game. And then what I tend to do is I keep the phone off, put the FFUK chat on archive, and then I can go in the next day and watch the other games without knowing, and just watch some highlights reels. Because one thing I've always been a big advocate, bringing it back full circle to fantasy football, is a bit of the eye test. So all the stats in the world never really paint a picture for how good a player or a team can look on the eye test. So that's my Australian experience of watching Premier League over
here. You're probably seeing more football than we are.
Yeah, in some instances, I do miss the match of the day experience, because where it does lack over here is they kind of use the international commentary, and that can be a bit frustrating. So you don't tend to get that analysis afterwards, or any analysis that you would be interested in listening to, put it that way.
Oh, I don't think that's much better over here either. Just for more familiar names. But
how many when you open up the FFUK chat, how many messages do you?
Yeah, there's normally a few hundred, and it gives you an indication as well of the game and what's been happening. Like, I mean, for instance, last week the Liverpool Man United, or 2 weeks ago, the Liverpool Man United game, I really want to enjoy watching that kind of fully back. So I just went to work the next day, and you're dying to know how it went. And then I came home that evening, get the kids down to bed, and put it on about 8:00, and just enjoy it like as if you're watching it live. And then you can go through and start to read the chat and all as well. And sometimes I'll read the chat at halftime, take me up to halftime. Like the fun around Trent's disallowed goal, where I don't have Trent, and I'm like, oh no. And then it's that, so
nice.
Try and relive it.
I don't know if you could get through a day. I don't know if I could get through a day at work without knowing, just because you've got like...
It does take stamina,
But no, that's really good that you can do it like that. You're almost... You're almost sort of self-medicating throughout the week with your football. I love that.
It probably also paints a better picture for anyone listening or watching with regard to my very delayed responses sometimes to the chat. And then on the other hand, my sometimes very inebriated responses, like people are like, it's only 12:30 in the morning, he's been on the beers. It's because it's my Saturday night.
Or I think maybe it's worse if we don't. Maybe if we don't notice a difference, that's even worse.
True.
Brilliant. Okay, so next question is for you, Justin. And obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I think there's particular relevance for most fantasy managers at the moment. We're always looking at Liverpool players. We either want to get more of them, or swap around what we've got. So, what have you made of their opening 3 games, and in particular about the new manager? Just wonder if you had any thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose from a fantasy perspective, I think the new manager is great because he's just picking the same side, and we know what we're going to get. Long may it continue. But actually, from a football point of view as well, I really like that. It's early season now, and the games are going to start coming thick and fast. But I just love that he seems to know his best team, just puts them out there, no messing around with rotation and so on. So yeah, it's been a really good start. I mean, that opening game against Ipswich, I think the signs it probably told me more about Ipswich actually than about us. And then that second half, I was like, oh Man City are going to run riot next week. I didn't get on the triple cap and Haaland thing, which is annoying. But yeah, and then Liverpool was it Brentford next? Brentford. And I actually went to the Brentford Palace game on the opening day over in Brentford.
Okay.
And thought they were actually quite impressive going forward. And Buemo with Tade, is they were a bit ropey at the back, but thought they were good. So the fact that Liverpool actually kept 3 clean sheets as well, it's quite promising. But I suppose overall, what I'm kind of getting at is probably bigger tests to come. But yeah, great. I mean, great start. And fantasy-wise, I actually think I only have, I had Kwanzaa, so just Kwanzaa and Jota, and definitely looking to get more involved, as does everyone, I think.
And it's only been 3 games, as you say, but obviously good signs. Is there anything you can notice that's different, apart from keeping the same players, or maybe more? Is there anything you can notice that's different about what Slot's doing compared to
I mean, the narrative is that it's kind of a bit more controlled, bit less chaos, and I suppose that kind of, with picking the settled team and dropping the likes of Nunes, Nunes is obviously just a chaos kind of monster. That's a nice way of putting it. I think, more control. With the said centre midfield is really fluid. It's very much what you see is what you get at the moment. I'm more interested in what happens with a few injuries and kind of when things.
Yeah, and in some ways,
there
wasn't too much to change as well, was there? You were a good side before, and it's just about the tweaks, isn't it? Really, and what he can do. Those big games. Yeah,
he might have landed the best job going. That squad is in great shape. No signings, and I mean, you give him credit that he put. I guess the midfield 3 is where you really seen. Again, I just think you just pick your best 3 players and stop messing around. And they were all kind of relatively new in the last couple of years. But Gravenberch has been the real, not great from a fantasy point of view, but I don't think any of those 3 really, they're all kind of going to pop up every now and again with the odd goal and assist, but there's none of them you're banking on. Maybe McAllister if Salah was out for pens, but yeah, that midfield is looking great at the moment,
Yeah, no, good start, absolutely, for Liverpool. So, okay, back to you, Damo. And I would ask you about Leeds, but unfortunately, they're no longer in the Premier League. But hopefully, they'll be back again soon. But there are 3 ex-Leeds players who have made moves over the summer, obviously, which you must have been a bit disappointed about losing them. But I just wondered if you could give me your thoughts on, firstly, Rutter, who's at Brighton, who's a 5.5 midfielder. What would you say about him?
Yeah.
Firstly, is it Rutter? Is it Rutter? I don't know how you say it.
Rutter. So you have to practice a bit of French pronunciation there. Look, he was one that hurt the most because it wasn't just the skill he brought. And if you remember, Sam Allardyce actually wouldn't even play him in those few games at the end. He said he wasn't even a footballer. It was a bit of a Sam classic. And then 12 months later, he's come for 40 million pounds. But yeah, it was also the charisma, the character, the energy he brought to the team. Bit of a loose cannon in terms of his style of play, but he's definitely got that X factor. I mean, I think he's only 21, 22. He got, I think, 19 assists last year, 7 goals, mind you. He's not as clinical as he should be in the positions he got himself in, but the kind of assists he was getting, I mean, apart from the fact that the number of them, very, very smart player, really reads the game well. I think he would do well obviously from a fantasy point of view, you're waiting till he's actually getting a start in the team and kind of solidifies that pace. I mean, if I'm looking at the Brighton team, I'm thinking you play, Pedro up front, leave Welbeck on the bench, and then start Rutter. And, very creative. And in the 10, he's definitely a 10. He was bought as a striker, and within 5 or 6 games, Leeds realised that he wasn't a striker. He's much better as a 10 or coming in off the wing. But ideally, he's a 10. And that's where he's got all those assists from. But yeah, so it definitely at that price, it's a very good price once he becomes a starter. But until he becomes a starter, you'd hold off.
Okay, so that's a wait and see on him.
Yeah.
And then next one is Sinistera, who is it? Did he go to Bournemouth? Is that right?
Yeah, Sinister, when he came in, we felt like the Royal We Leeds felt they had a real bargain there from kind of the Rafinha mold, similar kind of money, kind of, came from Feyenoord, I think it was previously in the Dutch league. And again, just very good down the wing, cutting inside, scored some lovely goals. But injuries are his biggest issue. And that's probably what we're also seeing at Bournemouth since he's got there. He's picked up a few injuries as well. And now this year, that's been reflected in his price. I mean, 5 million is a bargain for an assist goal scoring winger in the Premier League. But until, again, he gets a run in Liga. And with Solanke gone, those options may open up to him a bit better. Because we saw that just a couple of weeks ago, he came off the bench and set up a goal and scored a goal, for a nice little haul in the space of about 15 minutes. So again, it's a wait and see from an injury point of view. He's someone you could get on quicker if you saw him getting a run of games because the numbers will come. He's definitely got the talent.
Okay, so again, probably have to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
But he could be an option. And then the last one is Somerville, who's went to West Ham, Crescencio Somerville.
Yeah, Somerville. I mean, he won the Player of the Year last year in the Championship. He combined the goals and assists. So I don't have the numbers to hand. So say 13 assists and maybe 17 goals, 18 goals, something like that. Very strong numbers again. Very young guy, a winger that cuts in off the left. Also takes penalties. Last year, I think he's missed one in his career at Leeds. Very solid on penalties, very confident. He's just going to be, again, I think, 5.5 million? Very good value once he can get a start in the team. He'll have to move as a Kudos, I think, has got the left wing slot down there at the moment. But again, once he gets into the team, he's the difference with the others is he's proven a little bit in the Premier League. When you think it's 2 years ago, he went through a run of games of scoring 4 games in a row. And that was when he was 2 years younger and just kind of establishing himself. So again, one to watch for sure. And
he's
representing
5.9 actually, so he's actually
5.9. Okay.
Price drop. So can he really only play on the left though?
Yeah, he is in off the left. I wouldn't see him coming in off the right.
See, I just wonder then if he's going to get. I mean, Kudos or however you say it is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked at him many times, and I think he might be an option at some point during the season. So it's a hard player to try and get ahead of.
It is,
and Bowen on the other side is almost impossible. So
yeah, and it's probably a reflection of where the Premier League is at, where you look at Leeds and how close they were to getting out of the Championship last year, 91 points. Any other year they'd have went up as automatic promotion. Yet Premier League teams can pick up their whole front line, their best players, and then just stick them on the bench for 35 to 40 million,
Yeah, it's very telling, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. If you're going to pick one at the moment, not sure any of them are picks at the moment, are they? But okay, maybe a better way of wording a question is, which one do you think scores more points over the season?
That's a good way of putting it. I would go with Somerville.
Okay, interesting. Okay, West Ham might need freshening up, mightn't they?
Yeah, based on an injury, I reckon he gets in the squad and he'll score some.
Just need a kudos of injury there. Okay, so right back to Justin, and we've got this is a question about head to head. We noticed that you're playing Damo next week in a couple of weeks in game week 6. So just wondered how. Do you ever let head-to-head fixtures affect your decision-making process, or is it more just you look at the other person's team? I just wondered how you play head-to-head in that respect.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll always just play my own game, but maybe if it's towards the end of the season now, or if I have nothing to play for, but I'll always have a look at their team and that. But yeah, you just got to play your own game, really, in fantasy.
Yeah, I think it's just more fun, isn't it, playing against your mates? So it's nice when you get a fixture like against Damo.
Exactly, yeah. And head-to-head's a funny one. Like you, I think actually did okay in it last season, despite having a mediocre season. Bit of luck,
Yeah, I mean, how does it work? Because when I've had my best season, I think I finished 5th in head-to-head. It's just like, how does that happen?
It's the weekly thing, yeah.
It is just about how the fixtures lay out, I guess. So but it's a really good really sort of good format. I think that we all enjoy that element of it. But okay, let's go back to I'm just conscious of time a little bit. So let's go back to Damo and the opening 3 game weeks of the season. How have you assessed those, and any particular players that you've stood out?
Yeah, I jumped on the Kwanzaa bus, and we talked earlier in covering off Liverpool. I had Jota as well. I was actually a bit frustrated with Jota. I had just kind of started well back before the hype train that he was going to be in my team, and I was going to go no Salah. And then Kwanzaa option came very late, and it was like, okay, I felt I got Liverpool coverage in defence as well, and we all know what's happened there. But from my own point of view, it's actually started probably my best ever year. I was 177k ranked before last week, and then the aforementioned Salah happened in Man United, and that's kind of really affected my rank. Well, I say really affected, it's down to 400 odd K now. But because of this year with the Haaland price, the way there's also been the other option of people going no Haaland, a lot of those people who've gone no Haaland have Salah and are also captaining him. So I'm feeling this year more so than the end of last year, not having Salah is really affecting you because you're coming up against a lot of Salah captains as well. But yeah. But it's been a very interesting year. I kind of like the way it's far more open this year with the number of players available. Like we've not even talked about Palmer yet as well. Watkins hasn't even hit his groove. So
absolutely, no. So you mentioned Liverpool there. I think we should probably go back to that then, because it is really does feel like the team at the moment that we're thinking about, and having Justin here is obviously great. So in terms of Liverpool attackers, Justin. Talk to us. Tell us who to go for.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like it's not like Damo, like covering these gems that we've never heard of. I think we all you might have heard of this player he's called Mohamed Salah. Pretty handy. But yeah, no, it's pretty obvious. I mean, it's all to a budget, obviously. I'm looking at Diaz actually because I have Gordon. I actually could have done it, and I could have done it direct in the price. Gordon's price went down, Diaz's went up, so I'm a bit short, but I can make that up elsewhere. I think you either have Salah or you'd nearly want to be doubling up. I mean, before I did that thing the last game week. I think it was into the top 500k, very happy. And then there's only one game left, and it was Liverpool, and I just plummeted as the goals went in. So look, ideally I'd like to have Salah, but the way my team is built with Haaland and everything, and I already have Jota, I'm pretty happy with him. He's going to tip away probably a goal every other game, maybe a goal a game kind of thing. So if you can double up with Diaz and Jota or have Salah, that's before you get to the defenders.
So at the moment you've just got Jota, have you?
Just got Jota. Probably looking at getting Diaz. I think I'll have to rip up my team to get Salah. I could probably get rid of Kwanzaa. I'd be looking at defender as well, like with these clean sheets, And,
I haven't conceded a goal yet. So, and there's
Diaz.
In terms of defence, then same question: is it Trent or no one, or is it? Are there alternatives?
No, I think you could go. I mean, kind of looking at Konate now. The Kwanzaa thing was unfortunate because, it just looked like it was going that way. He was playing. He just played his. Konate is just very good, but again, Konate will get injured, so that's why you're probably not going to go there. I'd probably look at Robertson, like the saving that you make on Trent. They're both kind of getting up the pitch. Obviously, you don't have set pieces and that, but anyway, you can get into that Liverpool defence as well at the moment.
Yeah, and Alisson, I guess, is the other one. Is also an option, but maybe Raya feels like they're the same price. Are they both 5.5? Is Alisson 5.5?
Yeah. So keepers, I don't know. Just no luck with keepers. So.
No. I mean, I've had Raya this season, and it's like, for once, it felt like the right way. But it can easily change around. And they've got tougher fixtures now. So talking about price rises, Justin. Do you sort of pay attention to them, or do you go early for moves?
I used to a lot, and I think the name of my team's Hitsville UK, which is it's a Clash song, but kind of I'm pretty bad for taking hits. And then they changed the rules obviously this season, and you've got the 5 transfers, and I haven't made a transfer yet, so I'm kind of rolling. I think that really has changed my kind of. I've been with injuries and stuff. It's just my team has just kind of looked good enough every week, and I've had points. I've been alternating between Smith Rowe and Pedro on the bench. So usually my first sub is usually picking up 8, 9, 10 points. So basically, yeah, sorry, I haven't been making early transfers. I used to, and like if it wasn't for the new rules, I would have done definitely early transfer Diaz to Gordon exact money the other night. In fact, I would have had to have made a transfer. But
I think that's really, really interesting. So that new rule really has affected your tactics. And what's the plan then? What are you going to do with all these transfers?
I just keep looking at my team, and that's okay, you know, because again, like that first, like I always have even a dilemma, you know. I mean, if there's a few injuries and stuff, I think I'm just going to keep rolling and get to. But it maybe in my mind is that whole thing of getting to the 5, which is stupid, like. But yeah, I think I would have done that. I said that Diaz. I know. I wish I'd done that Diaz to Gordon thing, really. But again, like, who's Gordon got this week?
They've got Wolves. So they've got Wolves away, so that's okay.
Exactly. No, traditionally he wasn't away. He was, he was a really good home player last year, not good away. But I think the only points he's got this year have been away. And like I think long term, like it'll suit me the rule change, because like how many times do you change your team and then you're like the guys you took out do just as well. And we've all seen the kind of stats. So like just having patience with these guys, Isak was on the chopping block last week before he scored. Eze was, he was looking really good. We all knew it was coming, but how long do you have the patience? So yeah, just more of a patient game this year, really, and let the price rises take care of themselves.
I think fair play to FPL for actually coming up with a rule that hasn't made the game worse. I think it's definitely made the game better. And it's opened up more tactics, and it also is good if you are a casual and you go on a 3-week holiday and forget about it, and then you log back in and you've got those extra transfers. So it was win-win, really.
So that's probably the target market they're aiming for as well.
Yeah.
Well, the unintended benefit then is that actually for us where we can plan a bit, I really wanted to save a transfer before my wild card, because just to have that novelty factor of coming out of the wild card, you should always be able to save for a week after your wild card. So straight away you should have those extra transfers in the bank. Yeah, and it's like that would feel great, and that's what I wanted to do, but it just wasn't possible because my team was in all sorts of dire straits. So I'm actually on wild card now. So
nice.
Have you
guys... Can I just, before I finish on that, like I would say, like there is a kind of a horrible feeling of like it's all just getting away from you as well, and you're just being so passive. It just feels so passive, and like I don't know. You
say it's all getting away from you. I've had a look at obviously both your teams quickly, and you're in 70th place in the FFUK league, and Damo's in 24th. And I would say Damo's had a really good start. You're 12 points behind him. It's absolutely nothing. So
I've actually been really happy with my start. And I said before that Liverpool game the other day, I was like, this is a great start. But it's just that feeling, I don't know, of you're not actually playing the game. Like you're just, you've picked your team and you're kind of letting it roll. But I said it's new territory, and it's really it's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a bonus that this season there's that added intrigue about that, and we'll see how it goes. And we'll have you on when you've got your five transfers banked and you don't know what to do with them.
I know. Yeah. Let's keep rolling. I'll burn them. That's our burning transfers.
Yeah. Does it also mean you're putting off the wild card then as well, because you kind of got these transfers, so you don't need to wild card, do you?
Exactly, and I'm kind of quite interested to see how close to my team the wild cards are. They won't be that close, but there's a lot of luck with just having the players that you kind of wanted initially, and kind of there's players I want to get rid of, but I said just sticking with them, and but I'm kicking the wild card down the road. I don't actually have a date for it, but it'll be first kind of crisis or whatever,
Okay, and then Damo, you said you're in 24th, had a really good start, but you mentioned you've got no Salah. So what's your plan either for that, or have you got a wild card plan? Where are you
Chris,
at with that?
Going full circle back to how we can, if you can show some patience, whether it be holding transfers or actually trying to watch the game live the next day. So I stayed up on Sunday evening watching the early kickoffs and went to bed quite satisfied. I was sitting 87k in the world thanks to the live ranked just before the Liverpool game. And then 24 hours later, I'm down to 400 odd K just by not having Salah and actually gone into that game with Jota. And I don't think the Man United players obviously had any effect on anyone. So my strategy was to go without Mo and I wouldn't say it necessarily hasn't worked, but it's also something that I've learned over the years is being able to pivot pretty quickly. So I realized I watching the game, and before I knew my plan was to bring Trent in for game week 4. I love having Trent on my team. I just wanted to see how it started off, and when he scored that, or what appeared to be that goal, I was like kicking myself. So I feel I dodged a bullet there, but having said that, the way Mo's playing, you got to have him in your team. So that Monday night, I jumped on it quickly, and I've rectified that problem straight away. I had 2 transfers. Previously I'd rolled, but then to bring in Watkins, because I'd also got a plan that I was sticking with Watkins, or I wanted Watkins for his good run. That hasn't quite worked out how I would have hoped. He got the jammiest assist I think I've ever seen in a very long time, which you often find seems to happen with other teams when you're looking at them going, how did he get that assist? So I've taken that and run. But with regard to my own team, what I've done is I've brought in Vardiol, a big fan of him. If you remember how he finished the end of the season, and he was almost playing like a left winger for City. And again, the outcome isn't what I hoped for, but the actual pick was fine. And but I've had to jump off that to free up some funds. So I've brought in Rico Lewis, probably no surprise there in terms of where there's some gains to be had. So Rico Lewis is now in my team at the for getting rid of Vardiol, and then I ditched Saka to bring in Salah. So that's how I've managed to fund it. I feel much more comfortable heading into game week 4. I didn't want to hit a wild card just for the sake of bringing in Salah. I have a few other issues on my bench, but I'm not here to play a bench, so I'm not really concerned. Ideally, I want to hold off on the wild card for the moment. So I have taken a hit, -4, Rico Lewis and Salah straight into the team for Vardiol and Saka.
Okay, so I've just done that.
So no more no Salah for me.
So you've rectified the situation, got Salah in. So just for the people listening on audio, do you want to go through your team demo, and we'll have a chat about where you're at in general with it? Oh, Damo, you there? Oh, we might have lost him. While we'll wait for Damo.
Damo's just inspired me. I'm just looking at my team now. Oh yeah, just get rid of Saka and get Salah in. It's obvious. And then I'm looking at Saka's next 2 fixtures. Just do it for a little while.
Let's get your team up then, Justin, while we wait for Damo to come back. And here we go. This should. So is this your team?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
So this is a team with no transfers made all season. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I started. Hence I've got.
There we go. So let's get the team up for this week.
I mean, yeah, it is a bit weird. Hence I've got.
So Pedro will be coming in this weekend, I guess. Will he? For someone?
It's just Pedro and Smith Rowe just keep swapping between them. And they're both actually bringing home points. So, is Pedro actually in the team as it stands? I just see. So this is probably the stupidest thing I did, which is tells you at the start of the season teams. I've got the 2 keepers. I got Henderson and Sanchez. I thought actually they rotate quite well if either of them could keep a clean sheet, but so that's 0.5 million waiting to be kind of gained straight away. I'll probably, especially with all the free transfers piling up, I'll just get rid of Sanchez for Fabianski.
Okay.
Are you back there, Mo?
I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, don't know what happened there. Just must be some gremlins somewhere between here and Australia.
The old on and off. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Justin's team up. We'll go back to yours, Damo, afterwards. But we've got Justin's team up, and he was just going through it. Obviously, a couple of issues on the bench. I guess that's the thing for you, is it? Yeah.
They are, yeah, exactly. I mean, Konza and what's Brighton's guy name? Barca,
yeah.
Barca. Yeah. So, but again, it doesn't feel like priority because the first sub is fine. And actually, I've always got a kind of a dilemma what to do with that first sub every week. So I'm just kind of giving you look at those fixtures, those players next week. Pedro's playing Ipswich, is it?
Yeah, they've got great fixtures. Yeah, a couple of good fixtures.
Yeah. So basically, I just look at my team every week and I'm like, that actually looks okay. I'll just roll it over one more time. I think I'll do that again. However, I am now thinking maybe just do the Saka thing with Saka having 2 difficult fixtures because I can do it.
The fact you could do it and still have, have you got money in the bank?
Probably.
Or
No, that's
you'd
like
have to.
exact
You'd have
money.
to. So
Well,
someone would have to.
I think just downgrade Gordon to Roger. That's the thing. Then it's like downgrade Gordon to Onana or Rogers probably. The two Villa guys there, I don't, who are kind of going to fund everything. I don't know, but I can't decide between those two actually. I don't know if anyone's any thoughts because Rogers looks really good going forward, but Onana is actually bringing home the points.
Yeah, so I guess it depends which way you look at it, really. I think Villa probably a better team. The other thing with Rodgers is he's looked good, and his expected minutes, has kind of got better as the season's gone on, through no fault of his own. In the fact that there's a couple of injuries at Villa that have meant that I think he's now going to play every game as the number 10. And for 5 million and for a Champions League team, that does feel sort of like a no-brainer. But as you say, no returns. Onana feels to me like. You watch him and it's like, is that just because he's just signed and there's a bit of that extra kind of... I remember Capoue one season scored like 4 goals in the first 5 weeks and everyone was like, oh, he's a brilliant FPL pick. It's like, no, he's still a defensive midfielder. He just had a really lucky run. And I kind of think Onana at the end of the season will have less attacking returns than Rodgers. But at the moment, my theory is totally against what you're seeing. Yeah.
This is the problem that Damon's dead right about watching. I just don't feel like I've watched enough football these days. I haven't really for the last few seasons, and like you can't beat just watching it yourself. I'm just basing what I'm talking about there off stats now, and I'd have had a better idea about that defensive midfield thing if I'd actually watched them. So
well, as you know, you need to move to Australia if you want to watch. And you can spread it out throughout the week. Yeah,
that's
Okay, so the Salah move is obviously impending. I think
I'm just looking at the money that I'd actually have to do the keeper. Again, I have the transfers. I'd have to do that. Sorry, I only have 4.7 million, so I'd have to then also just downgrade a keeper or something. But
so it would be 3 transfers then, would it?
Exactly. Yeah. However, I'm just, as I said, I think I'll just go for the 5 thing now. It's an easy decision. I like my team's good enough. It's okay. And I might as well just go for the 5 transfers. Get it done. Get out of my system.
Brilliant. No, Saka against Spurs is not a bad fixture. And the other thing we were talking before we came on is Saka's from game week 6 has got 3 perfect fixtures.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. You'll be wanting them back straight away. Exactly.
Okay. Well, I think it's incredible restraint. So if you get to 5, I think you should get an award.
Come back to me now on Friday or Saturday or whenever the next deadline.
Yeah, with lots of grey hair. Yeah, in 2 weeks' time. Because it's been so
versus
stressful.
someone else on the stream who's made 4 transfers in 2 game weeks. Yeah.
I mean, from my point of view, my first transfer was I did. Oh my god, I can't remember what I did now. Oh, I did Solanke out because he got injured, and brought Muniz in, and he's been a disaster. I mean, lots of shots, but nothing. And then I decided to go for the Villa 4.0 defender that didn't start. And so I'd have done far better just to have left my team as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't currently be on wildcard, which we'll get to. But just for the podcast listeners, Justin, do you want to just go through your team, just so that everyone can sort of visualize?
Yeah, sure. I like Henderson in goal. Robinson, very happy with obviously Saliba and Pedro Porro. Porro is another one you could kind of sell to make a bit of money with fixtures and everything, but I think he's a season keeper. He's just so good attacking, getting into crazy positions. The midfield of Eze, Gordon, Jota, Saka, Smith Rowe is kind of 5th mid, and then Isaac, Haaland, and João Pedro up front. And then kind of no bench really. Well, the kind of 2 dead guys in the bench, and then I have Sanchez as kind of sub keeper, who again is going to be cash cow, as I said. So
yeah, no, I mean the thing is, considering you haven't made any changes, the fact that you've only really got 2 issues out of the 15 is pretty good going. And
it's a lot of luck.
Still looks good. And it's just whether you at some point you're going to want to get rid of those Newcastle players and probably get another Arsenal attacker in, and maybe another. I think probably another Liverpool. You must be desperate to get another Liverpool player in. The fact that you've got 2 and one of them doesn't play must be quite frustrating, I guess. But that's what I was saying. Incredible restraint.
They're kind of frustrating players as well. I mean, they're all frustrating, but they're all just kind of doing enough just to hang in there, kind of bad weeks, and then just give them one more week, and then they'll do something. They won't do something the week after. So. they're basically tormenting me. I hate them all.
Brilliant. Okay, well, let's go back to Damo's team then. So I'm at the website I'm on. If people are not familiar with it, it's called FPL Team, and it's really good because you can kind of plan out future moves and look at different game weeks and stuff. So yeah, and thank you to whoever invented this website.
That's very impressive.
It is.
Do you want me to take you through for the benefit of the podcast listeners then, Chris?
You can. I think you said just let me do the moves you've done. So Gvardiol was to Lewis, wasn't it?
Correct.
And what was the other one?
And Saka to Salah.
Nice. Okay, so that's how it is now. So yeah, if you could go through it, please.
Yes.
That's where we were, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, tried to go a little bit different in goal and went for an old FPL favourite with Nick Pope, who's not doing too bad. I think he's third overall, and relative to points per million, is kind of keeping pace with Alisson and Raya. And I've got Pedro Porro in the back line. Lewis is now in there, which again, speaking of the eye test, I think I've been very lucky without him. I mean, he could have easily had a couple of goals. He's already got an assist. And I think there's more points to come where he's basically playing in the midfield, an attacking midfield role. Robinson as well from Fulham. And then the midfield is Jota, Smith Rowe, Salah, as we just mentioned, and Morgan Rogers. Again, Rogers, I think we've just touched off being a bit unlucky there with points. They're hopefully come. I hope he's not flattering to deceive. And then up front, I went with Watkins, tried to get on Watkins early. That was prompted by the Solanke injury, and Hala, Isak. And then, like just mentioned earlier, I'm not too concerned about bench at this stage of the season. I've got Fabianski, Kwanzaa, Winks, and Barco, and that'll be addressed when it comes to the wildcard. And that's giving me a rank of I'm currently about 409k.
Did you start with Fabianski as your backup?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, nice. He might get it.
He might actually be playing. He's playing more games than Barco, put it that way.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's as you say, you've had a good start, so it would be a good looking team. So where are the kind of points where you because I think perhaps when you look at it, maybe Rogers having to play every game is not ideal. Where else are you sort of looking to strengthen next? I guess you've got the front line that really everyone was wanting before the season started.
Yeah, and that front line was actually in my team before Solanke transferred to Spurs. So this is what I always had throughout the summer, and I felt like with Watkins' numbers last year that I was surprised his numbers weren't higher, and then it's turned out because they talked about like he's obviously been to Euros, but he didn't really play much, so I didn't see him as being tired, but. Again, he's failing the eye test. He's getting in the right positions, but you look at the fixtures, and sometimes I'm kind of a fixtures guy. And look at the pedigree, we know he can do it. So he's at Everton at home, and after this next game, like he'll return. I'm a bit concerned about the numbers, as in the minutes he's getting as well. But overall, I kind of tend to look at FPL from a 6-game period. Next 6 game weeks, where do I see points coming? But at this time of year, I'm not overly concerned. It's about the next 3 or 4 game weeks, because there's the wild card in the pocket, and game week 6 or game week 8 will be a potential good time to play. So I'm like Justin, I'm very comfortable with where my team is now, with the one exception. I'd love to have Trent in there, but to fund him, that's probably a wild card, because I wouldn't have enough with what's in the bank and shifting Porro up. But relatively comfortable, having said that.
Yeah, I suppose you've got a couple of issues on the bench there, but nothing too horrendous. You say your first 11 is looking good. So yeah, that's well, both of you are in pretty good in a pretty good place, I would say. And you haven't had to use your wild card, so maybe we'll look at my wild card next, because I'm conscious we've only got a couple of minutes left. So we'll quickly do that. So this is where I have finally, after a bit of tinkering this evening, got to a wild card I'm happy with. So hopefully that you can see that on the screen. So I'll go through it for the listeners. So it's Raya in goal with a back at the moment. It's back 4 of Mazraoui, Rico Lewis, Trent, and Robinson of Fulham. And then I've got a midfield 4 at the moment of Rogers, Eze, Salah, and Jota, and Haaland and João Pedro up top, and Fabianski on the bench. And then I've got a couple of players on my bench that will be so I've got a bit of depth. So I'm hoping I can save some transfers by having Mbuemo and Vissa on the bench this week against City. And then a 4.0, which is currently Mascara. So Yeah, the bench
Right.
does look nice, and it's only really because of the City fixture it looks like that. I mean, I guess if I was to put Mbeumo in for Robin, so that would
Yeah.
kind of be my strongest 11,
Yeah.
maybe, or even
Yeah, that's
Visser
very
for.
impressive. This
that,
is for
you know.
Rogers, depending.
Yeah, so that's kind of the first 11, I guess. But the whole point, I think I've the whole point of a wild card is it's got to be for a while, isn't it? So, and
Yeah, it's gotta
I
be
want
fixed.
to do what Justin's done and save some transfers. I want to get to 2 or 3 or 4. I can't see myself ever getting to 5, but if I can get to 3 or 4, I think you can really do some cool stuff, like come off your Haalands and Salahs and flip them round to Palmer and Saka and everything in one week, and that does sound like quite a cool thing to be able to do. So that's
It's
where
very
I'm at.
impressive, Chris.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Do you
Mbeumo,
have
I
any
think, is going
funds?
to be brilliant. Sorry, Mbeumo, I think, is like people aren't talking about him enough. I think he's and that's the kind of player you want to get in a wild card to be a bit of a differential for you.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually like, I'm almost having to get him a couple of weeks early because I think that they're in 6 onwards. They get really good Brentford fixtures, and I don't know about having double Brentford attack. That feels a little bit much, but it's if I haven't got to play them, I don't mind it so much. So yeah, and you have to compromise, don't you? As you know, with you can't have them all. Yeah, that's definitely the theme this season with Palmer and Saka and Salah and Haaland, and we just can't have them all.
Yeah.
Did you have any funds in the bank, Chris, after this?
No, I think that's actually spent 0.0 in the bank there.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
And that's with doing all the price rises. I think I'm 0.5 I've saved over the week. So
The only one I was going to suggest there was Wout Faes, the Leicester central defender, but I think he's now 4.1 instead of the Wolves Mascara, is it? Given Wolves' performance this season. But then he's probably bench fodder anyway, right?
He is bench fodder. And the other one that seems to be coming up in a lot of teams I've seen is Greaves of Ipswich. But I just think it's a 4.0. I'm not bench boosting until later on in the season. So it's
Harwood Bells at Southampton isn't the worst shout. I'm just a bit concerned at what I've seen from Wolves this year. Obviously, you guys, Chelsea really turned them over. But then if you look at that 6-2 from an XG point of view, it was a bit of a freak result, which is why I was surprised with some of the movement towards who's Madueke, wasn't it? Yeah. You look at that XG and 3
a hat trick. No, when you're 6.5 is always going to turn people's heads, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I think you've got a lot of lovely bases covered. I love Ease as well. Like having him in the team he's just a really exciting player to watch, and he's central focal point of that team. I think Palace will only go from strength to strength.
Well, I've still got time, don't worry, this week to change it all around and, and maybe ruin it or make it better. Who knows? But
all you need is a Conte injury that Justin referred to, and Kwanzaa becomes an option again.
Yeah, exactly. And I was as we say, we were so sure about that. Well, I was so sure. I thought I don't, and we think we're cleverer than sometimes. We sort of overthink these things, don't we? But thank you both for joining me for this special international break special. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Chris. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers, and thanks, Damo, for coming in, connecting from down under.
Yeah, pleasure as always. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Justin. Good luck for your game week 4.
Yeah, same to you, and same to everyone watching and listening. So we'll be back with another one soon. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.